only time it folded when I opened in the call, it was when I had aces. It happened once.
Well, we knew it was like a.
Yeah, my tail was wagging. To be fair.
Air quotes.
Sure, the aces. It was the RFID broken.
I can't lie about shit up here, can I?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I can, but
Yeah.
It's 2024. I can just do whatever the fuck I want. Nah, you're wrong, man. But we seen it. Nah, I don't care.
Ace 10 off for Steven on the button.
Oh wow. So you guys got my request? Beautiful. That's me back down to the second worst player at the table now. Thank God.
Feels hand-picked.
John in the big blind, Queen 8 offsuit. Gonna be good enough to defend.
Calling, yeah.
220 in the middle as we see a flop of Ace, Queen, Jack, 2 diamonds.
Every time he plays a shit.
John and Steven both flop a pair. Steven with the best of it. That's 2.5 bigs. I want to talk to Lenny. Like, I want to keep giving Lenny some strategy
We may
here.
have lost Lenny.
Oh, okay.
You know.
Well,
Yeah, we're back to just our casual, friendly audience.
all right. Well, as Steven upgrades to 2 pair, there is a 4-liner out there now. Check to the river. Oh no. Well, if Steven does try to squeak out some value, John does have a bluff catcher now with his 2 pair on this 4-liner and 3 diamonds.
Well, it's a 4-liner 2 ways. A 9
Yeah.
as well as a king makes a straight. Look at the value being
Yeah.
eked out by Greiner. This is quite nice.
Yeah, I love it. I love when players dig in there and find those thin value spots.
He's targeting exactly the type of hand he wants to target. A worse 2 pair.
Gets the call out of the Queen 8. That's very well done by Steven.
All right, it's 1-1 now. It's 1-1.
Online poker is back in America. No purchase necessary. Play online poker for cash prizes with players across the U.S. Sit next to your favorite ambassadors like Phil Ivey, Brad Owen, Rampage, Wolfgang, and the rest of the WPT crew. Play tournaments and ring games to win real prizes and experiences, including free entries into next-level poker events in Las Vegas. Sign up at clubwptgold.com with promo code YouTube.
What? Did I just hear that right? Someone took a rack of green to the bathroom and
What?
got a 3-round penalty.
Yeah.
No way.
Well deserved. What are you thinking?
What? The only excuse I have for that is if they didn't know that they can't do that.
He just somebody won an all.
Never played a tournament before? I don't know.
Break and then scooped his stack to doubled up and just.
Scooped both
I don't
players'
know how
stacks.
They do have cameras above.
We've seen some crazy things in tournaments.
Yeah, I think it only took like 15 minutes.
Steven in the hijack,
I thought it was
Ace 7 of
actually
hearts.
Yeah, that's actually pretty impressive.
Yeah, because you would think if it's
Yeah.
straight down,
It might even if you have to see.
how could you tell? Maybe technology so like you can angle it and zoom in.
So after that happened, this is my ball, isn't it? Yeah. Oh no, that one's mine.
John gonna take the Queen Jack suited into a 3-bet, makes it 230.
Chip like rolls over, and he doesn't see it. And the guy in the 2 seat goes to grab it. The guy in the 1 seat takes it from under his hand and goes, "That was my chip." The guy in the 2 seat goes, "I don't know, bud. It might be my chip." Calls the 4 over and says, "Can you check the camera?" The 4 guy kind of looks like this is a little bit ridiculous, right? Like you don't know whose 5K chip this is. Guy comes back 10 minutes later, says it's the guy in the 1 seat's chip. 4 guy gets about 5 feet away from the table. I said, "Floor guy, come here." And he comes over and sits down.
Steven calls. Pop brewing here. Over $500,000 in the middle.
He's like, "You're a funny guy, eh?"
Hiya. Trip aces for Steven.
It was the end of the night, so.
And this is a board that John, with Queen High here, is going to start bluffing at. With his gutter backdoor clubs working. And you 3-bet the Queen Jack and you get this flop. See how John proceeds.
Well,
Ooh,
oh,
boy.
well.
So now it's a question of, do you take your equity to the river or do you use it as leverage to continue barreling?
Yeah, he's trying to decide
He can
how many aces could he really be up against as played. Is it pretty king heavy? If it's king heavy, can we put those hands in jail?
Yeah, I mean.
I don't think he ever expects to get raised, even if he does bet the 325 with the semi-bluff.
All right, and Steven is in a spot where you really, if you raise, you only get called by hands that beat you, or you fold out all of John's bluffs. So calling here, I think, is the play. Does call. To the river we go. 1.4 million in the middle.
To be fair, when he was walking up here, everyone here said this guy's gonna punt all these chips. I was like,
I have been known.
River blank.
an hour and a half ago, I had this many chips.
You did?
Yes.
And now,
To be fair.
take a look at John's stack. 1.5, and there's roughly 1.5 in the middle. Is he going to shut it down or empty the clip? 3-bet pre, barrel flop turn. Now on the river.
Ah, he gives up. Would have been so boss to fire a third barrel there.
Don't think it was going to work, but we'll never know. Regardless, that's a huge pot heading over to Stephen Greiner.
Yeah, and well played by Steven. Here's Ms. Rocky. Andrew under the gun. About 25-ish bigs. Start the hand. Bumps it up. Mark with a suited ace in the cutoff. He's got some massage equity going. He flats his suited ace. Tim in the big blind. It looks like this is going to be our mystery hand. Tim 2.1 mil behind in the big. Gonna complete. We're gonna go 3 ways. Ten, 9, 9, 1 spade. Andrew flops top, top. Mark backdoor spades working. We don't know what Tim has. Andrew, likely the best hand right now. Yes, we are down to 105, John. Ace-6 gets out of the way. Now it's back on Tim, our mystery hand. I imagine this hand lasts a little bit longer, so if you're in the chat, let me know what you think Tim has. Makes the call. Seven on the turn. No suits. No flush draws to worry about. And Matthew T. Who's the announcer? My name is Ashley Frank. I go by Poker Face Ash in the poker community and on my socials. Tim checks it over. One of those spots where if Andrew bets, he's really targeting just a 10. And now another 7 on the river. All right, got some guesses like Jack 9 offsuit. Okay, 6-9. So we think he has a 9, chat. And he's gonna bet like he does.
325,000.
325. Putting Andrew in a very tough spot. Certainly looks like a 9 as played if you don't think Tim check raises on that flop. Although pretty dry texture, so I don't hate just calling on the flop if he did have a 9. Maybe some worse 9s like you guys said, maybe like a 9-6, something like that.
$325.
He might raise some of his 9x, but nevertheless, we're going to see how this plays out. Some of y'all think it's a bluff. King 8 off, blocking straights. Air. All right, I like these guesses. He does call. And Tim did have a bluff. He had King Jack offsuit. Andrew finds the hero call in a really tough spot. All right.
If only I was AK or AA, yeah, I do a lot better.
About to say, you guys
AJ.
were getting way too serious. We were talking throughout every street at the other table and then come up here. And
In the hand, we didn't talk too much. A little bit, I guess.
Chris saying they got quiet at this new feature table.
Bets, had fun. I mean, some
some
of us,
people, some people had fun.
I
some
already
people
lost.
made some dumb bets.
I already lost a 10-to-1 bet for 100. So I mean, I'm
Robert pocket
first
tens
bet you
under
ever
the
won for me in
gun.
12 years.
Raises it up to
It was
a bad one.
80,000.
The 10-to-1
Almost
one.
won a 75 to 1.
I still didn't get my piece for keeping my mouth quiet.
Yeah, you get free pickleball tomorrow. Sunrise Park. Or chicken pickle.
Y'all are talking football in the chat. Someone says, let's go Casey. My favorite hand's pocket aces, but if you're talking about a non-premium hand, we'll just go with 9-10 suited, Jack 10 suited, one of those.
Check.
Pocket tens. Andrew with our mystery hand in the big blind. Pocket tens does need to bet for protection, I think, and for value, of course. 9, 8, 4, 2 clubs. And Brent had to depart, so I'm solo right now, but I'm going to be joined by a very special guest, so thankfully you guys won't have to just hear me this entire time. So we do have a mystery hand going on right now. We don't know what Andrew has in the big blind. Another 9 hits the turn, and Robert bets again. Mr. Mizraki, one of the OG poker crushers. Andrew makes the call again in the big blind. Pot brewing here. To the river we go. Oh, and another double paired board. Flushes miss. Back-to-back hands where we have double paired boards. Tim tried bluffing last hand. And now it looks like Andrew's carving out a bet of 350. Maybe more.
550?
550.
Yeah, 550.
Putting Mizraki in the blender. Jack 10 misses, clubs miss, straight draws. Andrew perhaps with an 8 thinks is best. Doesn't think Mizraki has a 9 as played. Either way.
Unless I big hand.
Oh, some talking.
You can still talk, Chris.
You know what I've been thinking about this?
Pickleball.
No.
Well, my guest has joined me. Mr. David Lappin, do you have any thoughts on this river?
So I will add the caveat that I arrived a little bit late for the beginning of this hand, but Robert does have an interesting candidate here where he blocks, obviously, straight draws. If he had a 10 of clubs in his hand, I think this makes it a quite easy fold, but he's just now left wondering, is this miss clubs often enough?
Yeah, it looks like he has a hand he really doesn't want to fold.
Oh, could be careful.
And you're right. Good point about blocking
How do you
10x.
think I am?
Someone says they think Rob's gonna make the call.
You usually only bet the minimum bet if you play with them.
Do I owe a time bank, right? 3?
You haven't
Just
used the whole
realized he
tournament.
used
I made you
3.
use 3. I feel like I at least accomplished something.
I'd be up $300.
Feel pretty good about that. Made Rob as Rocky use 3 time banks. It's the most you ever used in one hand.
Most I've ever used in my life.
Mark her down.
From a Tell's point of view,
One way or
Andrew,
another must be a good
very,
bet.
very comfortable right now. If he is capable of displaying this amount of comfort
Yeah.
whilst bluffing, huge credit to him.
I'll sell
I
you
think
more. I got
the standard read from that
got
would
6
be
more I can say.
strength. But
Yeah,
tell
me
me what
too.
you
I
have
agree with
later?
you there.
it is fun that we don't know, though.
It's very fun. We don't know.
We're in the same
find
spot
If
as
it is
Robert
a
here.
yeah, and if it is a bluff, nice.
Why are you betting so much? Doesn't even make sense.
Large bet does make sense if you're going to go for bluff and value, I think, in this situation. So
Yeah, he's
I do
rep-
quite like the bet.
Yeah, he's repping a very narrow range.
I owe more.
9 or an 8. Or bluff.
5. Got him to use 5 time banks.
Just-
Andrew enjoying his moment in the spotlight either way.
yeah, and you can tell he loves playing a pot against Ms. Rocky. Probably knows who he is.
There it is, the 9. He was super comfortable. Feel like Robert could have got away in that spot, to be honest.
Yeah, I would have liked to see fold there. Andrew just looked a bit too happy, a bit too comfortable.
Yeah, and it is very hard to sustain that level of joviality when you are genuinely, sticking your neck out the
Online poker is back in America. No purchase necessary. Play online poker for cash prizes with players across the U.S. Sit next to your favorite ambassadors like Phil Ivey, Brad Owen, Rampage, Wolfgang, and the rest of the WPT crew. Play tournaments and ring games to win real prizes and experiences, including free entries into next-level poker events in Las Vegas. Sign up at clubwptgold.com with promo code YouTube.
Yeah, basically down to 100 runners now
Wow.
in this huge main event, 23 million plus in the prize pool. And obviously all of these guys with eyes on that, 3.1, 3.2 million?
3.1 plus.
Wow.
Andrew in the hijack, ace 5 suited. 2 big blinds to go. Yeah, insane here. Just these players all in the money, running deep, of course playing to make it to that final table. It's going to fold around to the big blind mark with a very good hand. He's going to play call.
We're gonna play a little one, Mark.
Little or big, doesn't matter.
Little so far.
Yeah, it is kind of
Little or big announced.
To
Okay.
make up for it.
Possibly.
Oh no. Both players flop an ace. Ace 10-3
75.
rainbow.
Call.
Is that like a time bank?
That was extraordinarily
Time back
fast.
tomorrow.
Oh.
Snap. What's a word for faster than a snap?
Check.
I check.
Kickers are at play. Ace Jack still ahead. Only chop abilities for Andrew doesn't get there, so now Mark likely just gonna get paid. And Andrew gonna see the bad news.
That's good. Rapid fire hand.
That was speedy. Speedy hand. Right, and I think Mark's gonna flop enough air there to definitely put pressure or shake some hands by the river even. So anyway, that'd been a fun one to check raise, but he decides to take the passive option, let it go, move on to the next hand. Here we go, Mr. Conrad, Chris under the gun, pocket queens.
Yeah, a little gift from the poker gods, or at least that's what it looks like so far for Chris, who is able to just open this one off 16 bigs. Hope to find a customer somewhere down the line.
Right. Deep enough to open here, obviously never folding. Can induce here, it's a perfect example. Maybe Robert jams this. He has over 20 bigs.
Pretty reasonable.
Yes, very indeed. Actually, probably prefer it.
Gonna click instead. And
Interesting.
well, a would-be customer in William here with the ace jack, probably just too much action in front of him now. I'm fascinated to know what will happen here when the inevitable shove comes from Christopher. Robert has maybe sized it that he can get away, sort of using the blockers. The ace-queen is one of those hands that can sort of leverage a guy's stack, and then you sort of feel like, well, he has to be honest now if he comes over the top of this, and ace-queen maybe doesn't do great against the open under-the-gun induce range.
Right.
But he will be getting a good price, and that's always a little bit pesky if you think hands like tens and jacks could find their way in. He is actually going to go with that read on the situation. Maybe Christopher, the type of player who would actually induce fairly wide in that spot. Maybe a hand all the way down to pocket eights, pocket nines might be in there as an induce.
Yeah.
And we are off to a very unfair race.
Yes, and a lot of people probably rooting for Chris in the chat, too. Needs to stay alive and hold here, all in. 1.7 million in the pot. Did see a nice mucked. 88 players left. Huge spot here for Chris. No hearts. Okay. Some chop abilities here.
Another red one. What the hell?
And a much needed double for Chris. Back up to 1.7 now. After that gross spot with his queens earlier.
$88 players remained. Our next ladder jump will be at 79. Good for $8,000, almost a buy-in.
Wow.
And in just 30 minutes or so, we have lost 11 players.
Yeah. Dropping a little fast right now. Cut off open, queen 10 off. Chris in the big blind. Ace 9. King 7-3, all hearts. Nothing much working for Chris on this one. Ahmad with queen 10 with the queen of hearts.
Yeah, on these monotone boards, we're going to do some amount of checking back, but this is a really nice situation to fire out a small range bet. I think something quite small, 75, 80k, does the job nicely. There we see even south of that here, 65k from Mamad. And as you said, Ashley, this ace-9, while quite high up on the defending range, has really whiffed this board.
Yeah, absolutely. Nothing much you can do here. And Mamad has a hand that can bet here because it can face some aggression, so he does put in the bet. And Chris floating here. Okay. Heading to the streets, to the turn. Chris maybe sensing he could take this away on later streets.
Yeah, I think also building for himself a minimum defense frequency that includes some of those ace highs. Just wants to test his opponent out. It was only going to be one more big blind. Why not just see what develops here? Oh, and it's developed awkwardly for him.
Yes, not the ace he wanted to see. Mamad now with the nuts. A check or a blocker bet works nicely here.
Yeah, I think pretty reasonable to bet one big blind yourself. Also, not a bad situation to check and assess.
Sure. Chris's hand, a bluff catcher at best, even with the ace on the river.
Mamad can go relatively big here.
350,000.
Mamad's certainly capable of just naked bluffs here, I guess. Chris got to decide what he beats.
Yeah, not super straightforward here for Christopher. Obviously understands that he has a pure bluff catcher, trying to figure out what complete airballs on flop, slow down on turn, and now represent hearts on river. Oh, it does look like he may be a skeptic. Chips in hand. Has heroed.
What a river, not just a heart. Ace.
Unlucky river there for Chris.